I'm only taking one step at a time towards healing myself. I had to get out, I found a way out. No more living in pain or misery. It's all about protecting my energy. Keep the negative away from me, because I am just keeping my peace. Cut off everything that no longer was serving me, and I chose to start loving myself. I walk in my purpose, no looking back, I'm only going within. B.O. standing there, a better version of me. I must say that I'm proud of me. It's not about how you feel, I'm living proof that God is real. So let me show you how to heal. Damn it, I'm wearing it well, cause I came a long way. My journey isn't yet complete, that's what it look like to heal. Damn it, I'm wearing it well, I'm proud of myself. It's nothing to it, you can do it, all you gotta do is just fight through it. Create a soul, create a soul, create a soul. Just fight through it. Create a soul, create a soul, create a soul, create a soul, yeah, yeah.
Welcome to Pain to Purpose podcast, where we have open discussions to heal together as a community. We are on episode 7, and we are talking about father and daughter relationships. And our special guest today is Lynette. Welcome, Lynette.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. And yourself?
Good. Good. I'm good. Thanks for asking. So can you give us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Lynette. I am originally from Miami, currently now living in North Carolina. I am 35. I'll be 36 this week. And I am a proud mother of 5.
Okay. All right. So we've been doing this series, Lynette, on father and daughter relationships. And so we're going to go ahead and get into this. So did you grow up with your father?
Actually, I did not. I don't know my biological dad. Um, Not that I don't know my biological dad. I actually met a guy when I was 20 that had claimed to be my father. It was not proven that he was, because he ended up passing about 3 months later. So, no, I did not grow up with the dad.
Okay. Do you feel like father and daughter relationships are important, or that they could affect women, like if they don't have their father in their life or a good relationship with their father?
Yes, I really do think that father and daughter relationships are very essential. Like they say sometimes, mama's boys and daddy's girls. I
Mm-hmm.
do think it can make or break how a young woman grows up and how she views men and
Mm-hmm.
what she goes after in men. I think a healthy relationship with a dad can have a young woman knowing what to seek for in a man versus
Mm-hmm.
not having one.
Mm-hmm.
I think they tend to go after the wrong things, and men, they look for that love in all the wrong places.
Yeah, I agree too. For some, it doesn't happen to everybody, but some women, they feel that void, and so they go looking for love, and then sometimes they end up in relationships with men that don't love them and don't deserve them. So that is a hard situation um to go through. So can you tell us, like, Is there anything that affected you or how it affected you with not having your father?
Well, for me, not having my dad, it affected me a lot because I also didn't have my mom.
Okay.
So I was one of those, girls who had an absent mom and dad. I mean, my mom she was around, but I wasn't raised with my biological mother. So with that, and also not knowing who my father was, I never really knew what actual real love was or what to look for in a man, how a man should treat me. All of those different things. All of the men that were around me were not good examples. And when I did thought I had a father figure, it was it turned out to be one that was very, very, very horrible for me because I was ended up being molested by him. So it really definitely tarnished how I viewed men for a long time. Like I really had a hate in my heart for men because I didn't know what to look for. I didn't know what it was that a way that a man should treat me or what I should be looking for in a man or the value of who I was and how a man should value me. So it definitely tarnished me a lot up until I got up in age, actually like in woman age, for me to learn by trial and error on my own.
So at what point did you, I know you said trial and error, but at what point did you, like, how old were you when you actually realized, like, my trauma is affecting me?
Ooh. Um, I kind of knew that because my trauma affected me, and like I said, a lot of ways. It was a lot piled on one. Um,
And this is
I,
not, I'm not asking you that for the audience and everybody that's watching. I'm not asking her that to bash her or her parents. I'm asking her that because a lot of people think that because you become an adult, though that past history doesn't affect you. Um, but it do. And so
it really
that's why.
does. It really does. I want to say, let me see. I had my first child at 19. I had my second child at 20. I want to say it really, and it took a lot of trial and error. I want to say by the time I got to that point in my life, I started to realize that I was really traumatized by male figures in my life as far as not knowing my dad, like I said, being molested and all these different things. So I really had hate in my heart for men. Um, I got married at about 25. And I want to say even that, like a lot of that trauma carried over into that. But me trying to raise my two children, one boy, one girl, it took for me, like I said, trial and error for me to know what was done wrong for me to be able to know what to try to do right for my children, with making sure that my children knew who their father was, had that father figure in their life, making sure that my daughter knew, having that relationship with her dad, or doing what I could for her to have that relationship with her dad. And for I really want to say it just took I would even say um, even now, because for a long time I went after older men, and I want to say that that also could have played a part in me not having my father around because just looking for that, not necessarily father figure,
Mhm.
but I guess that adult and mature figure as far as a man or someone that can possibly give me that love and affection that I don't even know what it is that I was missing, if that makes sense. Because
Yeah,
not
there's
having a father, I never knew what it was to look for or to knew how that felt to know what I was possibly missing. So I do think it affected me for a long time. And I think that trauma lasts for a long time. And unless you kind of seek therapy or seek help or start to unpack that trauma, it will follow you for a lifetime.
I'm glad that you mentioned therapy because I truly believe that a lot of people are against it. They try to make other people think that they're crazy or bash them because they choose to go to therapy. But there's nothing wrong with therapy. I really believe that just like God gave us preachers and teachers and doctors, He also has given us, therapists to help us too. There's nothing wrong with unpacking that. It's when you are silenced by people that's the problem.
I
I
agree.
I think that nobody should have to be silenced. And I think that we should be able to be open and talk about our experiences when we choose, if we choose to be able to help other people and to also get the therapy that we need, but we shouldn't be bashed because we choose to get the therapy.
I agree. And like you said, with like what you just said, piggybacking on what you just said, for one, I think we need to normalize therapy with our people because I think
Mhm.
that's one thing that our community suffers from. Like you said, not wanting to identify that it can be a healthy thing and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Also, like you said, with silencing people, um, even for myself, like growing up and acting out, there was ways I didn't know how to express the pain that I was feeling and
Mhm.
all of the trauma that I was dealing with. So it was a lot of, aggressiveness that came out. It was a lot of tension, a lot of fighting, a lot of, getting in trouble, acting out, all of these different things. Because, like you said, being silent, you're not able to express it and let it out, or sometimes you don't know how to. So, and when you don't have the right guidance that identifies that there is a problem to seek help or to seek that therapy, then all of those things is almost like pressure burst pipes. It all piles up and it has to come out some type of way.
That's
And
true.
unfortunately, sometimes it comes out in a negative way, and that's what we see a lot in our community. It's always an underlying issue there. It's not always that that person is a horrible person. There can be underlying things that are going on that they don't know how to express, and it just exploded in the wrong negative type of way. So I do agree with the whole not being silent. That can definitely, of course, be a very unhealthy thing when you're dealing with trauma.
Yeah. And I also I'm learning too that a lot of people that dealt with trauma that didn't identify theirs or get help for what they went through, they are now projecting their trauma onto other people. So they say like hurt
I was
people.
about to
But I
say,
also heard somebody say rescue people are rescuers. But in order to be a rescuer, you have to identify like your trauma so that you're not conflicting your pain on somebody else.
I most definitely agree. You took the words out of my mouth. I was definitely going to say, like the saying, hurt people. And like you say, you can't really help people until you have, went through those things, navigated through all of those feelings and emotions, and been able to get the help and heal. Then that's when you can use your pain to purpose to be able to, take all of that and help somebody else through the situation that may not have been as strong as you or may not have been able to also struggling and trying to, navigate through all of those feelings and emotions. So I definitely agree. Like you said, hurt people, rescuers or whatever. So I most definitely agree with that as well. And for a lot of time, we do project it on so many people because when I tell you, a lot of people paid for the pain that I was feeling. And it's not something, to boast or brag about because even to this day, looking back on it, I'm just grateful for where I am now and the healing that I have had and is still having, with identifying certain things that I have not dealt with, growing up in those areas. From, like I said, not having a father around, it plays a very major part. And sometimes even with having a father around, if he's not a good father, you have a popcorn dad or you have a dad that may be around and may be, he may be present physically, but he's still unhealthy for you in so many other ways, maybe verbally abusive, different things. Like I said, sexually abusive, and all of those things, sexually assault. So it's still ways that even a present father can still be toxic for a young woman growing up in society. So
Yeah, I agree. So for the people that's watching, what advice would you give to someone that is hurting because they didn't have their father in their life, or maybe they had their father but it wasn't that great of a relationship, what gems would you drop on them, or something that you tried that helped you through your pain?
I would say first, you can't get help unless you identify that there is a problem. So I would say first and foremost, making sure that you know and you're aware. I would say awareness of the situation and knowing like, hey, it's me, taking that first look in the mirror and doing that self evaluation, because it's not always other people, and we tend to, blame others for what we're dealing with. Take that look in the mirror and know that you need the help. And once you identify that you have that problem, seek help. Take that time to heal. If you are in a relationship, speak to your partner about it. Identify that there is a problem, identify that you are struggling with that trauma, and, seek help together. If you're single, take time back from dating. If you're parenting and you don't know how to navigate through those things because you're hurting, take that time, like I said, to identify that there is a problem, seek that help, and fully heal. In the healing journey, can't nobody tell you how long the healing journey should be, but take that time to heal so that you don't continue to project that hurt and that pain and that trauma onto other people and continue on with it in your life. And it could free you. You'll find peace in the healing. And don't let it keep you captive your whole life. Free yourself so that you'll be able to really stop surviving and actually live.
Thank you for that. And I think a lot of people think that healing happens overnight. Like it doesn't happen like that. Like you may heal in 2 months, where it may take somebody else 3 months or a year to heal from what they've gone through. And especially when you've gone through a lot of trauma, like a lot of different situations or whatever, like we are not built the same. We are not made the same. So we can't be looking at people and judging people like, oh, she should have healed by now from that, or oh, he should have healed by now from, like, who are you? Like, um, I don't like when people do that. I really don't, because you don't know what that person done went through. You don't know how good or bad that it's been. You don't know why they shut down or why they feel the way they do. They've been through a lot of pain. And I understand that forgiveness is for you, not for the other person. But we also have to acknowledge that just because you forgive someone, that doesn't mean that you have to allow that person to have that same space or that same version of you so they can continue to hurt you.
I
Um,
agree.
I think we don't, sometimes we don't think about that. We just think that we still have to be in that same space and continue to, be hurt. And that's not okay. At least I don't agree with that.
No, I agree. For one, boundaries are healthy, and I would tell anybody you definitely set boundaries, and you force people, or not necessarily force people. You respect your own boundaries, and you stand on what you feel in those boundaries, and don't allow people to, um, sway you away from what you're feeling. And again, if they can't respect those boundaries, then you then will have to love them from a distance. Also, going back to when you asked any advice that I would give somebody, don't compress. When you compress, again, like I said, pressure burst pipes. Allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to heal and to go through. Like you said, can't nobody tell you the length of your healing. Can't nobody tell you, can't nobody put a time frame on your healing. Like, take your healing in steps. Okay, when you celebrate every milestone. Hey, okay, well, you know what? I feel like I've unpacked this and I feel better about this. And then you move on to the next thing until you're completely healed. And like you said, sometimes the healing take a lifetime because it's trauma. You have been through a lifetime of trauma. So sometimes that healing takes a lifetime, and in certain stages of healing looks different. So it doesn't mean that you're walking around and you're toxic and you're projecting it on other people, but you're still internally healing. And take that time to do so. Like you said, don't let nobody force you into, oh, you should have been healed by now, because then you're going to fall back into compressing because you're trying to
Mhm.
please people. So really allowing yourself to know your boundaries and know, hey, and identifying with, you know what, I'm not 100% healed, but I'm healed enough to know how to love. I'm healed enough to know my worth. I'm healed enough to know my value. I'm healed enough to not project those same things onto my family. I'm healed enough to break those generational curses and allow me to have healthy male relationships around my children, my daughters, allowing them to know what a healthy father daughter relationship should look like, because I don't want them to feel the same things that I had to deal with growing up. So most definitely, like you said, the healing journey, you know internally how you feel and how long it takes for you to heal. So I definitely agree with that as well.
Well, thank you so much for coming on to the show. I appreciate you coming on, being your authentic self, and being opening up and sharing with everybody, dropping those gems. We never know what somebody else is going through, and our story, our experiences can definitely help somebody. So, thank you again.
You're more than welcome, and thank you for having me.
You are welcome. And to our audience, remember it's only pain until you start to discover your purpose and work on your healing. For now, I'll see you guys next Monday.